Hello. In this video, I'm going to be drawing on my itch.io banner. I've been doing game development for a little while, and I thought I'd finally make a banner for it. I didn't know that you could, and I think it makes it a little more professional. I'm just going to draw whatever comes to my mind and probably just talk about other things that I've been working on. So, the pun in this is it's a banner, but I'm thinking band. You'll see what I mean. I have to draw. Well, it's 630 by 500, so I guess everything's going to look a bit pixelated to an extent. But yeah, I've been doing just as much drawing as I always do. I've been doing a lot more pencil drawing. You know, it's kind of weird how no matter how much, like, I just like drawing all around and design, iterating. It is fun. And it's one of those things that I just see myself coming back to again and again. I'm drawing a whole bunch of bugs. Well, if I can figure it out. But yeah, I've been doing, I guess you could say trying to find my style. Although I kind of know it, but perhaps I'm still too early to know what how I want a lot of my art direction to go. But, you know, always having fun along the way is something that's incredibly important to be aware of as you go. As always, I always draw bugs for the most part. And that's I don't know, it's kind of funny how I find that becoming my theme for a lot of what I do. I mean, I guess I always had the passion, in all honesty, for it. And it's kind of surprising that I haven't done it more for fun, but yeah, I don't know, I'm just being experimental here. I probably need a lot more practice, and it also doesn't help the low resolution I have to target, but hey, I guess it'll be a bit unique to an extent. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I do a lot of programming. I know I've been using itch.io, and I guess it is kind of weird because I traditionally used my Gumroad, but I guess itch.io is more for game development or video games. Kind of a bit of a different content than where I would post my drawing applications. And, you know, the big reason why I don't put my drawing applications on my own website. I used to do that, but it was causing... It wasn't the largest performance issues. I mean, to be honest, if I wanted to do it again, I probably could. I almost definitely could. I mean, I could always find a way. But whenever I would upload files, I want to say, how do I put it? It would take a while for it to upload. And I know that's really stupid of me because it's really stupid of me because it's like nothing, you know, it's like it's not really that much time. Like, I'm just talking like maybe it would take a minute instead of like 10 seconds, but for some reason I decided to not go that route. Maybe one day I will do it again, but I don't know. I think it works on my Gumroad. I think also providing a public place where people could like leave ratings. I didn't like implement that type of thing on my personal website. I mean, I always could, but I have to think like, you know, when it comes to web stuff, I will say that like a lot of the times it's like, yeah, can I do it? But how much time in maintenance am I going to end up causing? And that's something that, like, I think about way too much. I know it sounds kind of obscure for certain people out there, but it's just like, it eventually just adds up. It just adds up and takes a while. So it's like I could do it, but then I'll like spend weekends trying to fix it, tweak it better, all that stuff. And it's not that I'm against it. It's just I've done it in the past, and it's like, how do I put it? It's not that I'm behind that. I mean, I'm definitely not, because like I could always use more programming experience and whatever I want to. But it didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth. But let's just say I went through weekends when I feel like I could have been doing other things more that I wanted to. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are certain programming tasks I like more than others. What am I doing wrong? There are definitely other programming tasks I like more than others. Yeah. But, I guess you could say maybe sometimes I get beyond that point and I just want to, maybe I just want to draw, or maybe I just want to focus on game development, not have to spend the entire day dealing with music in some way. Not music, I'm sorry. Freudian slip. Dealing with programming. I guess I was thinking about music just because I've been doing a lot of it. And I guess you always have to be careful whenever you're doing something new to not burn yourself out with it. Because I do find that important, whatever it is, whether it be drawing or something else. Because I feel like personally I always have done a really good job at burning myself out in one way or another. So I try to be more careful as I go now. But yeah, so I've been doing a lot of that. And the funny thing is, I know probably a lot of people are going to ask, like, how do I have time? It's kind of weird, but, like, it depends how much caffeine I can get in my body. Obviously, my sleep schedule is terrible. I mean, my sleep schedule is probably atrocious, and I probably do a lot more work during hours I shouldn't, and that just ends up, like, causing all types of issues, sometimes mistakes, especially mistakes in my code. Like, I guess you could say the one thing I've really learned is that I will catch myself refactoring my code, and that basically means kind of going over your code again, and trying to make it better and trying to fix it. And I feel like, I'm not saying I should always get it right the first time, but if I was more in the right mind, I would probably be a bit better and not making as many mistakes, but that's just kind of the state of where I'm at. Some people praise that lifestyle. Yeah, some people do praise that lifestyle, but it's incredibly exhausting in my opinion, and I just deal with it anyway. Like, I'll never forget when I was in university, there were let's just say I had like a lot of teachers who they encouraged that lifestyle, and I get it. I guess when you're young, that's kind of like the push. I guess to a certain extent, some people kind of like feel a thrill from working incredibly long hours in one form or another, or like, when you're trying to make something cool. Probably that's how I would put it more than anything. And I do get it. I definitely do. There is an addiction aspect to it. that becomes fun. But you always have to keep yourself in check so you don't get burned out. I guess you could say the cool thing about game development in particular is that if you get burned out with one thing, you can move on to another thing that interests you, because there's a lot of different aspects to it. And like, okay, I'm burned out with art. I'm going to move to music. I'm burned out with music and art. I could go to programming. I'm burned out with well, you know, if you're burned out with everything, you should probably just take a break. But I feel like more often than not, the one thing I've learned is that more often than not, just when I get hungry, like me making dinner, or like having coffee. I mean, sometimes I work when I do have coffee, so maybe that is not the best example. But I guess you could say that, like, I could find a way. I could find a way to find the proper time. You know, if that makes sense. I wonder if it does. I mean, you know, it's kind of, I guess it's really hard to call those times breaks. More like forced times when your body requires that you provide for it. You know, or if I exercise. So it's like I could always find time to figure it out and take a proper break in some form. But that's just me. Perhaps I'm doing a bit much for the average person, and that there's probably a lot of truth to that. But, you know, I don't know. I guess, you know, I do with what I can. And I guess a lot of what I do is always trying to, like, think about my artistic direction more than anything. Which is something that I do find important. Wherever you're planning to go with it, you always have to kind of keep it in mind. I guess you could say try new things. I guess you could say sometimes I've seen days in which I will go on not tangents, but well, let's just say, like, sometimes it's not enough making the asset, but sometimes you kind of end up forgetting things and you kind of have to relearn them, which is a bit frustrating, because it's like, I mean, I do like it though. I mean, there are things I've gotten better at, but, you know, I guess you could say, like, I've been using Godot, and I definitely like Godot. But, you know, when you try to wear as many hats as you do, I guess you could say sometimes you have to end up relearning things, which there's a lot to be said about specializing, because I know some people will specialize and others won't. You know, whether we can this day and age. I feel like to a large extent it's a bit of, like, really difficult. I'm pretty sure anyone who's living through these times, of course, knows just how rough it can be. Pun intended, be. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it can be rough to have the time, especially just considering the way of the world, you know, with everything. And I guess you can say having creative ways to express yourself is definitely important, I believe. Because I feel like if you don't have those, you'll just kind of feel dead in the inside. And, you know, I kind of got into a debate with my dad talking about, well, let's just say like a lot of it. And I'm not anti-work. Definitely not anti-work. Um, I mean, I'm not sure how to put it. I hate going down that rabbit hole. But trying to find a job with meaning, or trying to find meaning in your job, it can be a bit of a difficult situation, probably with many people. And you probably know this if you've worked an office job. The horrors of working an office job can sometimes be incredibly. It's kind of funny though, because having friends from both sides of that spectrum, in which I know people who work with their body, meaning like labor, like having to carry stuff, and to see it just destroy their body, I feel just very bad. I mean, it's like there are people who I know, friends. I mean, yeah, of course not people, friends, and it's like they have to go to like therapy, like physical, or I'm not sure what you would call it. Let's just say it's like some type of therapy, and they have to go to therapy because, I feel like the human body can only take so much damage until the human body can only take so much damage until it kind of gives out in one form or another. You need breaks of some form to really be able to withstand it. And I think even with that, there is a limit on the body. And then after that, you have to think of it like this: like those jobs, like after that, you have to live with that. So it's like you damage your body, and it's like, okay, let's say you own a house, or let's say you or have to do or shovel the sidewalk or whatever. I mean, owning a house in this day and age. But historians will probably get that joke, maybe. But I guess you could say where I was going with that is, the thing is, sometimes you have to use your body in one form or another physically outside of work, and it's like if you can't do that, well, you're either gonna have to find someone else to do it, or it won't get done, and it's really tricky. It's probably the best way to say it. Like, what do? You don't get compensated for the damage that gets caused to your body. And I would never bring that up, because if you do, people wouldn't like to bring that up. Sorry. Certain employers probably wouldn't like to bring that up. But I hate to go down that rabbit hole. I don't like to spiral. Be positive. But yeah, I think I think I've always wondered with, like, a lot of labor, what is the future of labor? I've always kind of been thinking of that, and it's really interesting living through these times, because I have friends from both sides. And what makes it interesting is I see how some people kind of really suffer, and other people are very immune from it. And it's kind of dissociating, because, like, certain people will just totally neglect some of the larger issues. I guess you could say probably, like, I hate to go down the rabbit hole like this, but, like, what are people going to do for jobs? Everyone says, well, you're just going to have to find new skills, yet no one could really exactly say what those skills are. It's very interesting to see. The other thing is a lot of these technically like models that are trained. Like clearly they're not, they probably were not allowed to use that information. You know, I always try to give credit where credit is due. If I ever borrow from a source of something, I always try to, I mean, if I don't, always let me know, but I always try to credit my sources. I do find that important, giving credit where credit is due. But that's always kind of a bit of a problem with a lot of the AI models, because they really can't do that, or is all the data been trained on data they own? So yeah, it's something that I really think deeply of, because who's going to be suffering for that? I hate to say, but someone, and I don't like to always go down that negative rabbit hole. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I do wonder the future. I do worry for the future. And perhaps that's just me being a product of my generation, but I don't know. Seeing it from both sides. But yeah, I've been working on a lot of stuff when I can. I'm gonna draw a bell cricket. In the shape of a bell. I gotta think of another instrument to draw. But yeah, I do wonder. It's been a while since I've made a video talking about any kind of update forum in any sense, and I don't know why I waited. I mean, I really didn't wait. I just didn't really have the opportunity to go as far. Oops, I did not. Well, yeah, I guess I'll save it to my desktop. I wasn't expecting it to open all this. Oh well. Oh, come on. bandner, because it's like a bander of bands. But yeah, I'm trying to think, what else? Draw banjo, maybe. Trying to think where to draw his mouth. Let's see. Maybe I'll draw like a small. But yeah, if you've been drawing, let me know what you've been drawing in the comments. I'm like trying to think where I forgot antenna. What else could I fit? I can fit I mean, there's a million types of instruments to do. I'm not really sure which ones to make next. Or maybe keep it at that. Maybe I'll keep it at that. Well, thanks for sticking around if you've watched this full video. Of course, more to come as I make it. I've been working on some other projects. I've been thinking about adding a blog to my website. That's kind of on the horizon. Something that I've been kind of structuring. So I know I talked before about certain things and other things I don't. I guess you could say one of the reasons, as I said about features before, the reason why I didn't, there are reasons why I don't add certain things on my website. More often than not, spam. Spam is always one thing. Spam is always one thing I've been trying to avoid. And even when I have a blog, thinking that, you know, it's like I definitely like people to talk in one way or another, but sometimes like blogs can get filled with spam from robots, and certain websites offer ways to mitigate this, but it's become incredibly difficult to do that without just disabling spam, or disabling comments entirely, which is a shame because I thought that things like that made the internet quite nice, or interesting to use. And I don't know, perhaps it has to do a little bit with AI. I think that may be a bit of the reason, not all of the reason, but it's also a bit hard to manage that because, you know, as I said before, sometimes people will just post spam, and it's not people, it's more often than not like spam bots. You know, robots doing that and causing that to occur. So it's kind of a shame because it ruins it for everyone else. But you know, that is the way of the internet, sadly. But you know, but yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I would add on my blog, maybe share more of my art that I work on that's traditional, or maybe just rant more than I already do. You know. Because, like, I guess it's a bit different from articles, because I used to release articles every so often. But I really haven't done that for a while. I guess you could say that, like, I release articles when there's something that, like, I can't share through a video form. I guess you could say, yeah, a lot of what I share is probably best in video form. Obviously, there are things out there that do not make sense to share in video form, like if maybe you're showing off your art. Because I know a lot of artists will just end up using Instagram for something like that, because I guess it's the way you digest content. But I don't know. It's been really weird with how everyone uses the internet. I mean, like, pretty much how everyone's kind of been forcing people to use TikTok. That seems to be the big thing these days, or everyone wants it in the same form TikTok does because of the incredibly successful algorithm of it. But, you know, that's just the nature of the beast. So, yeah. Thank you for sticking around this video. If you have a question, please ask in the comments. If you like the video, please like it. And yeah, this is going to be the image that I'm going to use for my banner on my itch.io page. I'm really hoping that the banner is not reserved for text. I hope that's not the area where it says my name, but if it is, oh well, maybe this was. Maybe this will be the background image if it doesn't fit right for the banner. But yeah, thanks for listening. If you have a comment, please ask below. If you like the video, please like it. And if you like my channel, please subscribe. Thank you for listening. Bye.